Welcome, everyone, to the latest edition of the Charles White State Farm Aggie Athletics Coaches Show. My name is Shawn Joy, and today we are joined with head cross country and track and field coach Cyrus Hall. Cyrus, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good to have you here today. I know you're busy, and we appreciate your time. So let's jump right into it. Cross country wise, let's get the cross country first. You guys had your first meet in August at Hutch. Talk about that meet. What did you see, and how did we do it in Hutch that day?
We started over in Hutch. It's kind of a small race. I guess I say it's small. It was probably about between 80 and 100 kids, but I thought we ran pretty well. We didn't run everybody we have, at least on the women's side. Early in the season, you're getting in shape, especially for those kids that didn't do what they're supposed to do over the summertime. So considering where a couple of our kids were, what they didn't get accomplished in the summer, I was pretty pleased with how it went. We ran against them. We see some good competition. A lot of the JUCOs will have some really good international runners. And Wichita State brought their men and women over, so there's D1 team there. So I thought we ran pretty well. Obviously, we have a lot of room for improvement, but it went okay. I was really just looking to see, get an idea of okay, I've seen you practice for 3 weeks or whatever, like other teams do. You go against each other, what do we look like when the lights come on and there's other people out there and you get to put the jersey on. So we handle ourselves pretty well, but obviously we have a lot of work to do.
You hit on it a little bit about, what the kids did over summer, what they didn't do. What does the first 3 weeks look like when you guys get here, training-wise, to kind of get you ready for that first meet? What does that look like?
So really, early in the season, it's mileage mostly. So when they get here, there's a lot of ways you can figure out, did they do what they're supposed to do or not? It's a big part of our training for cross-country, especially if you're not fit and in shape, it's hard to make you faster because we're going to spend time getting you fit and in shape. So the first day out, we just had them basically time trial. All right, let's throw you to the wolves and see what you can do.
What's the distance on that?
Generally anywhere from a mile to a 5K. I did a 2 mile. Gotcha. That gives me a pretty good accurate, because if you run a mile, if you're a fast kid, you can kind of fake that. You can get through it and it looks good. Oh yeah, I ran now. But anything after that, it's all right, now we have a really good idea. So we did a 2 mile, I call it a 2 mile VO2 fitness test. And you could tell, okay, these couple kids got after it this summer. These kids probably did some stuff. That kid over there did nothing. And so from there, we already have a plan, right? Of what we want to do, but now we have to readjust it. Okay, this isn't going to work right now because she's not ready for that or whatever. So, mainly the first, I would say, month or so, and really would actually be kind of the middle of our season in terms of training. We're working on building our mileage and doing some lactic threshold runs, increasing their ability to hold that pace for longer periods of time. So we spent a lot of time on that the last few weeks. They've handled it really well. In years past, we've had kids that just blow up on that stuff and don't handle it very well. So this group we have right now has done a pretty good job of that. So I feel like we're in a good place moving forward.
Good deal. Yeah, you can tell pretty quickly when a long break if guys or girls haven't done anything. Any sport it is, you can tell.
We had a couple girls that I don't think ran a single mile all summer long. And I get it, you're away from home and you're away from school. There's no coach, but your season is largely built on what you did during the summertime. So while you're playing catch up, everybody else is getting better. But we're getting, that's kind of I heard Coach McAlpine talk a lot about culture. That's kind of a culture thing. If you want to be good, you can't not do those things, especially at this level, right? So some of the kids are figuring that out and some of them aren't. So we still have a ways to go to get them there, but I think we're on the right track.
Good deal. So looking ahead, this Thursday we have our next meet, the Mustang Derby down there in Wichita Falls. You want to see improvement, obviously, but what are your expectations, or what do you want to see this Thursday out of the runners when we go down there?
Obviously, we do want to see some improvement. So we run different race distances sometimes. So at the conference and national level, it's 6K for the women, 8K for the men. But early in the season, a lot of coaches and teams will sponsor like shorter races. So this week we're going to run a 4K for the women and a 6K for the men. So it actually be a little bit shorter than our race was at Hutchinson. So I'm expecting them to be a little bit more aggressive and try to push the pace a little bit to see what kind of improvements we have made. I think they should be able to handle it. It should be a pretty flat course, decent competition. Again, not a huge race, but enough kids where you won't get lost in the shuffle. So we'll see if they can do it. I think they can. We won't know until we get there on Thursday. Racing is especially cross country is kind of a little different. Like the thing that especially some of our younger kids have struggled with is figuring out how fast is too fast and how slow is too slow. So we went to Hutch, had a couple girls and a couple guys that went out pretty hard, and they paid for it late. But we had a couple kids who went out about where they were supposed to and ran pretty solid all the way through. And then, we had a guy that thought, Coach, man, I went out way too slow. I should have went out. So once they get that kind of figured out, that helped out a lot. But it's kind of tough for them sometimes because, like, when you're on a track, you got the oval. You're going to cross the 400 line every time or the 200 line. In a cross country race, they might have a mile marker out there or a kilometer marker for you, but you kind of just don't really know where you are until you get there. So we'll see what they do. I want them to be a little more aggressive this time. I mean, last time I tried to hold them back intentionally, but this time we're going to go race and see what we got.
Nice. So when you guys train, you talk about 4K and 6K and different distances. Where do you guys train at? Is it in Goodwell? Do you guys go to Guyman for cross country? What's the training situation look like for you guys?
We're going all over the place.
Yeah.
I actually think for cross country, we have a good setup out here. So like we have a lot of flat land, right? But like if you go just to the south of Goodwell or Texoma or north of Texoma, or you go to Guyman, there's hills too. And obviously we're at a little bit of elevation, like 3,400 feet. So like I think it plays pretty well for cross country kid. So we kind of go all over the place. We do our workouts, most of our workouts on the west side of campus. There's some practice fields, and like I've kind of set up like a mini cross country course out there. We do long runs, kind of all over the area. So I like to mix it up for them. So 1 week we might go to Texoma and run back this way. 1 week we might start here and run towards Texoma or Guyman or vice versa. And that way we're kind of mixing it up, and they get a little bit different like terrain, so to speak. So, if we run from Texoma back to here, we can generally get some decent hills in. So if we run on the north side, there's hills. If we run on the south side, there's hills when we get closer to town. So in Guyman, it's kind of similar. So we like to mix it up. But on most of our easy stuff, we'll just do from campus. We'll start on the football field, do a little warm up, or the Noble if the weather's kind of bad, and then we'll go out, just around town or outside of town and get our nice easy runs in. So we kind of mix it up. We went to the track last week. It rained a little bit. Our course was kind of muddy. So I was like, hey, we'll just go to the track and put a workout in on the track. So we did that. But yeah, we'll mix it up, go wherever we can.
Cool. Talk about your roster this year for cross country, your men and women's roster. Mix of returners, newbies, transfers. What does your roster look like?
So roster building is an interesting question. Like the way we're set up, the way we're built, like you have to kind of decide: are you a cross country school? Are you a track school? Are you trying to be both? So like people might think I'm all over the place. I have a plan, but on the men's side, we're kind of a track school. Like we aren't putting as much money and effort into cross country, and that's I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'd like to be able to put a little more into it, but I just feel like the way we're set up, the recruiting, the track team is probably going to be just better equipped to do what we want to do. So we've only got 3 guys. They're all returners. We didn't sign any new distance runners. We're kind of pushing our money towards the track side. And they've all been good so far. They're all 3 juniors. Trevor and Brahman have been here this will be their 3rd year since I've had them since they were freshmen. Josh came in last year as a transfer. They've all ran well. Josh has had a really good fall. He did everything he was supposed to do over the summer. He got after it. So he looks way better than he did at any point last year. On the women's side, we've sort of felt like we look at the Sooner, and you have some schools that are cross country only, and you have some schools that are track only. There's a couple schools that are kind of trying to do both, and we feel like we can fit that niche. So that's kind of what we're trying to do right now. We had a really good track season last year. So this year, the goal in recruiting was let's get some cross country girls, right? I think we were 8 points out of a conference championship, and we probably could have got some from some distance runners, but we only had like 2.
Yeah.
So we signed a bunch of distance girls. Most of them are they're all okay. Yeah, all but one's transfer. We signed three transfers and 1 freshman. So the transfers are 2 girls from Colorado, girl from Allen County. They've all been great. I think they're going to really help us, like cross country wise. They're on it. We look good. We'll see what it gets like when we get to track. Our freshman girls we're kind of slowly getting her up to speed. She got hurt this summer during her summer training, sat out for about a month. So we're kind of getting her back in right now. November's the goal, so we've got some time, but we got to make sure we keep her healthy because we can't have any more setbacks. So that's kind of like what the roster looks like. And then on the girls' side, we have a couple of returners. So Jemiah Clay ran track for us last year. She's going to finish her degree this fall. So we're trying to get her integrated so she can maybe help us. And then Carolina Valenzuela was here last year. She was our best distance girl. Is back this year, and she didn't come in the best shape, but she's pretty talented. So she's caught up very quickly, and I expect her to be one of the better runners in our conference by the end of the season, barring injury or anything like that. So I really feel like women's wise, we have 3 girls. I kind of call them the 3-headed monster. Carolina, Lillian, and Shania are all really talented. And they're all pretty close together. So like team wise, we just need to find a couple more girls that can fill in that gap so that we can move up in the team standings. But individually, those 3 girls, I think, will have a shot at being all conference this fall. So that's kind of the makeup of our cross country squad.
Okay, so you have three meets after this week. You have 3 more meets until conference in November.
Yeah.
What are your you hit on a little bit, but what are your expectations or goals for the cross country team when it comes to conference this year? What would you like to see as a team and individually the girls accomplish?
So I'll start with the men first. Like, we don't have 3 guys, so what we'll probably end up doing is we'll grab a couple guys, either a couple of our sprinters or occasionally maybe we'll offer some soccer guys an opportunity if they don't have a game. So we're going over there, like, we want our top 3 guys to run well. I think Trevor and Josh definitely both have like the ability to be all conference runners. Trevor was actually fairly close last year. But they're going to have to work for it. The guys, our conference on the guys' side is pretty tough. Pretty a lot of parity. Team-wise, I think we should beat a couple teams at least. Like, the goal for me would be like, hey, if we could get into the top half of the conference, that'd be fantastic. Is it realistic? With some help and some luck, probably. On the women's side, I had big hopes for the year. I thought we could be top 2, top 3 in the SAC. We kind of lost 2 girls that would have really, really helped us. And now we're trying to fill it in with 2 girls that we just don't know. We think they can do it for us, but we haven't seen it, so we don't know yet. And I don't know. I mean, there's always pressure. I tell my kids all the time, like, pressure is a privilege. And if you're on money, you have pressure on you. Like, if you have a scholarship, there's pressure on you. So I think they may be feeling the pressure a little bit, which is fine. I mean, you need to learn how to deal with adversity, in my opinion. But we're going to need them to step up and help these other 3 girls out to be a good team. Again, on the women's side, I would say top half is great, but I would love to be in the top 3. We'll have to see how things shake out with our girls individually. My personal goals is I'd like to see somebody qualify for nationals. So in cross country in our conference, You have to be an individual qualifier. You have to place in the top 15, which is all conference, and then you have to be one of the top 4 runners within the top 15 that isn't on the winning team. So if a team wins and they've got 8 girls in the top 10, the next 4 fastest girls will go. So I think we have 3 girls that could do that on the women's side. On the guys' side, I think Trevor and Josh would have a shot. It'd probably be a little tougher for Trevor and Josh than the girls, but I think they can do it. So if we can get a couple all-conference runners and maybe qualify somebody for nationals, I'd be pretty thrilled with that. But you just don't know until you get there, So.
Exactly. Well, you guys have had a lot of success with the nationals with the track team. It'd be really cool to see the cross country boys and girls maybe get in there and get some,
I'd like
some
to
of that stuff too.
like to be able to get somebody else in there, like women's wise too. I mean, we haven't had any women go yet. So that's kind of something that we think would be pretty cool. But we also, since I've been here, haven't had any all conference cross country runners. So we've been pretty close. I think Carolina was like 19th last year. Trevor was like 21st. The year before we didn't have anybody close. So we're getting a little closer. It's just taken a little bit more time than I thought it would. So, but we're almost there. So
I think you guys are going to get there. You're going on the right track, and I think you guys are going to get there. Let's switch to track, okay?
Okay.
Your first meet's not till December.
Yeah.
But what does the fall look like up until that meet for the track? Athletes, what are they doing every day or every week? What's that look like for track?
Man, if you ask them, it's the worst thing ever.
I got a couple of them in class, and they tell me that
they don't love fall training. The reason I put the meet in December, like we go to that meet, is sort of reward them for the fall training. Like, used to coach baseball, like you wait all fall, you're practicing every day, you just want to play or compete. Yeah. And so like as a spring sport, you have to wait sometimes till February or March. So I like to put that meet at Christmas, sort of reward them for their hard work in the fall. The fall training is sort of just a grind, we talked earlier about cross-country runners putting their miles in the summer, right? So the fall training for the sprinters is similar, only it's not miles. It's more like, conditioning, strength, weight room work. So they're basically going to practice 5 days a week, couple days of speed work, couple days of tempo work to get them fit. We lift 3 days a week in the mornings. And then they have a 5th day where we kind of work on technique and just being posturally sound, because when you're a sprinter, we want you to hit the ground with good posture. If your foot's way out in front of you, your hips, you're probably not going to move your body like we want it to. So they're out there every day, 5 days a week, getting after it. They love that tempo work. They love it. It's great. Coach, this is the best ever. No, I kid. They hate the tempo work. But they work hard. They're doing a good job. I think what we've done well the first couple of years is, I kind of went back earlier, I talked about culture, like our track culture is good. So like, I don't have to get on to them about, this and that. Like they're paying attention. I've noticed so far, we've only been out for a week and a half, something like that. They're paying attention to the little details more than they have, so we're not trying to skirt things like, oh, I can just do a couple of these and coach won't notice, or, we don't need to cool down. Like they're doing those things now. So I think that bodes well. Like there's sort of an expectation and a standard that we've set. And now that the kids have been here for a couple of years with me, they're teaching the younger kid. And so I expect things to run pretty smoothly with that. So.
Well, good. Well, you guys the expectations and the standards for track has been high the last couple of years. Obviously, you guys have had success with individuals and teams going to nationals. So that speaks for itself. So you guys are doing a great job with that. Talk about indoor, outdoor. What's that look like for Aggie track? What are we doing indoor wise? What are we doing outdoor wise when it comes to track?
Indoor and outdoor, like, here's what I'll say about indoors. Like, I like indoors because I can go inside and stay warm. I don't have to worry about, wind or cold weather, rain or anything. But indoors is sort of tough. It's long trips because there's not really a lot out here. And for us, like, the Sooner doesn't have an indoor conference championship. So for us, like, indoors is sort of, hey, this is what we're going to do this to get us ready for outdoors. And any benefit we get out of it, like in terms of national qualifiers or even All-American, good for us, So we kind of treat it that way. Like, I always know, I tell the kids this and they laugh it off, but then they make it true. I know you're going to go home and you're going to enjoy Christmas break and not do anything. And then you're going to come back and we're going to have to kind of get you back in shape. So that's another reason of why we're going to waste time, making indoors super focal. So it's kind of just practice meet scrimmages, if you will. In my mind, the kids don't view it that way. It's gung ho. But I view it as like practice, So then we get to outdoors. That's the important season. We're trying to get them ready for sooner. We're trying to get kids to nationals. Like the ultimate goal is like, I think pretty much every coach here would agree. Like, you want to win conference. We would love to win conference. Like I said, the girls were close last year. But like, I also want to get them to nationals because I feel like, not everybody gets to experience something like that. So if you can get yourself to a spot where you can qualify for nationals and get to go have that experience, it's pretty cool. It's like, you're going to be old someday and you're going to be able to tell your kids, hey, like we went to, Indianapolis, or we went to, I think it's in Asheville, North Carolina this year. Like, and it was awesome. Like, we stayed for a week and we raced the best of the best. And so that's kind of the goal for us. The big thing with our sport, it's probably with every sport, is we got to keep them healthy, and we got to keep them progressing as the year goes.
Let's talk a little bit about nationals. Just talk about the experience that you guys had last year. You hit on it a little bit a second ago, but it was a big deal, for you to take your crew up there and do some things. Talk about that, the experience, and then what that's going to do for you guys moving forward.
Yeah, so I think, from the kids' perspective, like, some of these kids have never flown before. So like, you're flying across the country and they're like, oh, what's this? Like the plane's going up and they're, praying like, oh, geez. And it's pretty fun. Like, it's fun to watch them, but like, they just get an experience that you don't see every day, like you get your first plane ride for some of them. I don't want to say you're treated like a king or a queen, but like, yeah, like you get, you're going to eat a little nicer. You're going to stay in a nice spot. You're gone for more than like, it's not like, hey, we drove over, we stayed the night, we ran, we came back. It's like, hey, we're here for a week. And what I generally try to do when we go to nationals, if you qualify, let's do something fun. So we took them go-karting last year in Indianapolis next to the Speedway. They thought that was pretty fun. But like, it's sort of a reward for your hard work. Like, okay, you worked really hard. This is like the payoff of it. So from a coach's perspective, like, it's cool. Like, I think for me, it signifies like you're doing something right. And it can help you in recruiting, I think. So that part of it's cool. And then, you have obviously the going to nationals is fun. Sometimes the logistic can be a little tedious, but like, I'm never going to complain about tedious logistics when I'm taking kids to a national meet. So yeah, I think there's a little bit of benefit for everybody, and it's a cool experience.
Well, Aggie Track has raised the standard the last couple of years with your guys' success. What's the goal? What's the expectation this year for this year's team when it comes to postseason play and what we can do?
To be honest with you, like, I suppose every year we want to win, conference, right? But like, I never know early. Like, I always tell people we stink until we don't.
Yeah.
Like, we've got to work for it. Ideally, depending on, what other schools brought in, like, I feel like our women can be right there at the top again. We lost one girl from last year's team that made a big, like, Jemiah's going to be graduating in December. She scored 15 points maybe at the meet, but we brought in 3 girls that we can hopefully help make that up a little bit. And then we feel like everybody else should get better. So will we? I don't know. It changes from year to year. Somebody might have brought in some studs, or somebody could get hurt. Like, honestly, before we got there last year, on the women's side, I thought Texas Wesleyan was going to win, and then like half their team got hurt. And it kind of changed things. And then that brought us in and a couple other teams in, and then we all fought it out. At conference. On the men's side for us this year, like, we don't have, we lost Cameron, and you don't really replace a guy like Cameron Neal. You try, but I don't know if it's possible. So what we did was we took Cameron and we made him 3 people. And so we're hoping that depth will help us a little bit. But we don't really have that like super high end guy now. We've had a bunch of really solid dudes. So that could help us a lot. We also had, I think, 3 throwers last year. Now we got about 7. So we think there's a lot of points you can get in the throws. So if everything pans out for us, I think our guys can be a little better this year. But again, we won't know until we get there. Like, you really don't know like who has what. I don't know what Langston brought back. I don't know what Texas Wesleyan's doing, or Wayland Baptist lost their coach, and I was told half their team transferred, but you never know. Maybe they signed a whole new bunch of team of guys. So we would love to win a conference championship. Right now, like the minimum is we want to be in the top half of the conference. If we're any worse than the top half, then I'm not doing my job correctly. But we would like to win. So the women, we're going to push that on them hard. The men, hey, let's be better than we were last year. I think we got 4th or 5th last year on the men's side. So like, let's be better than we were last year. We'll see how it shakes out. I'll have probably better idea mid-February, what we're going to look like and what other teams look like. But for now, it's like, hey, this is what I think, and we do have a lot of potential, but we'll see how it shakes out.
I got you. Good deal. Well, Coach, you're doing a great job with both the cross country and the track. Everybody can see that. You guys have elevated your games, and we're excited to see what you guys do the rest of the season. And good luck Thursday, okay?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that does us for our latest episode of the Charles White State Farm Aggie Athletics Coaches Show. We will see you next time.